What's happening in Bend's real estate market? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you all about it, what you need to know so you can make good decisions. Hi, I'm Nora Spangler with Rogue Real Estate here in beautiful Bend, Oregon. So I'm kind of surprised that I still see tons of videos online right here on YouTube talking about the crash and is the crash going to happen? When is it going to happen? Honestly, most of those videos are just clickbait. They just want you to click and watch their video, and if you do, what they say is there's not going to be a crash. That's the real big news, is that nobody is predicting a real estate crash, anything like what happened in '08. So that's the spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about three things today: leading indicators, lagging indicators, and why I don't think the market, especially Bend's market, is going to crash. So today I'm going to take you through what happened last month in July. Those numbers are called lagging indicators. So we're going to talk a little bit about those, but they are less important than the leading indicators in real estate, which are different numbers than you usually hear reported. So the first and most famous of these lagging indicators that we all talk about is the median sale price. So this is what sold in July. So this is history. This is what happened 30 to 90 days ago, because these homes were listed, went under contract, could have been months ago, and then they finally closed last month. So that's the number that I'm going to give you, and it is a whopping $810,000, which is up 15% from a year ago and even up 9% from June. So we had been trending in a downward trend on our median sale price, but this is the first month that it popped back up. Now we're not quite to the high point of February where we were at 820,000. How many homes sold last month? So just activity, how active was our market in July? We sold 218 homes, which was down 33% from a year ago. Now, the pandemic years, the last couple years, have been a little strange. So let's compare it to about 5 years ago, 2017. We're down about 25% from what I would consider a more normal year in real estate, not just the past 2 years. So we're still quite a bit down in our sales. Our inventory at the end of July was 667 homes, and that's down about 17% from a year ago. So that's a little worrisome. We just don't have enough homes for sale, which keeps the pressure on prices because we still have a decent buyer demand in our market. So it's one of the reasons why the prices are still rising. Now, I still hear a lot of people talking about the big crash that's coming. I see headlines and stories all over social media, and I have some buyers that are kind of just waiting, and I think maybe that's what they're waiting for. And some of the slowdown in our market and our numbers, I think, indicate that people are just kind of holding off. It's not that they don't intend to buy a home, but they just aren't sure. Things seem so uncertain right now. They just don't want to jump in. There's a lot of fear, and some of it has a basis in reality, and a lot of it doesn't. So if you have fears, I would love to know what those are, because I don't want you to fear things that aren't real. If we can get past them, get through them with real data and logic, things that really make sense in the real world, I would love to chat with you. Would you drop a comment if that is you, if you're a buyer and you're just kind of waiting? I would love to know your thoughts, just your fears, what it is that is a hurdle for you in this market that is sort of uncertain. And I can understand you just not quite being able to jump into it, but I would love to help and offer you advice if I can. So let's talk about leading indicators. And one of the top leading indicators is pending home sales. So is the market gaining in strength? Is it, stabilizing, or is it falling off and losing traction? Well, pending sales tell you that. So our current pending sales number is 337, and that's a pretty healthy number. And 195 of those have gone under contract in the last 30 or 40 days. So since the beginning of July. That's a healthy number, not a huge number. The next leading indicator would be home prices of active listings. So I looked at all the active listings, which the number of them right now is only 576. So that's down already 100 homes since the end of last month. The median price of the active listings on the market right now is $879,000. So much higher than the sold homes from July. So that gives us an indication that our home prices are still rising. Median days on market. This is a good indicator of the health and the status of the real estate market. We were at 6 days on market in June. In July, we went up to 10 days on market. So it took 10 days to get under contract, not to sell, not to close, but just to get a buyer to say yes and to sign on that dotted line. Right now, the active homes on the market, the median days on market is about 42 days. So homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer, and that is something to keep an eye on. Another huge leading indicator in the real estate market is mortgage rates. As mortgage rates go up and down, it definitely affects how many people are willing to buy homes. And as you know, they've been on the rise. They rose very quickly earlier this year, and they've kind of stabilized right now though. So they're estimating mortgage rates are going to stabilize. The Fed doesn't meet again until September, so kind of August and September might be a good window of opportunity. So, even the experts aren't sure what's going to happen. And if you have the means, if you have a stable job, the income, the savings, the down payment, everything you need, and you've talked to a lender, I would say look at homes and find one, get under contract, and be done with it. Because there is no guarantee at all that either prices or interest rates are going to go down in 2023. If one of your fears is that the whole market is just going to crash and implode and you would be devastated and lose money, let's talk about that, because I don't think there's a crash coming, and here's why. What indicates a crash? Well, in '08, the crash happened because of unstable lending practices, and people couldn't make their mortgage payments. They weren't really qualified in the beginning, but they were given those mortgages, and there was speculation in the market. People were buying multiple homes, and yes, it all fell apart. So there were tons of homes came on the market all at once. So the first indicator that we might be entering a crash would be a huge increase in our inventory. Well, I've heard of some markets that are experiencing this. Las Vegas, Nevada, I just watched a video about their market. Their inventory has tripled in the past couple months. And so, yeah, that would be a concern. In Bend, that is absolutely not the case. Our inventory, in a balanced market, we would have 1,200 or 1,300 homes listed for sale. And that would be about 5 to 6 months of inventory for us, because we typically sell between 200 and 300 homes per month on average. Currently, active listings for single family homes in Bend are only 576. That is less than half of what we need for a balanced market. To experience a market that is going to crash, we would have to have thousands and thousands of listings and not very many buyers to buy those. We have 575 homes for sale right now. We are nowhere near crashing because we just don't have enough inventory to crash. You might be wondering, why is our inventory so low? Well, Honestly, I can't answer that directly. I can say there's a few factors that could be contributing. One of them is just the uncertainty of the times we're in. People are not willing to list their home. For one thing, if they have a low rate mortgage right now on the home that they own, then they're going to be switching into a higher interest rate mortgage. And that may not work for them financially, even with the gain that they will get from selling their home, because they have to buy in the same, high priced market. So you can see why homeowners maybe not be jumping into, selling their homes. Also, millions of millennials have entered the home buying age, and they're in their 30s and they're wanting to buy their first home, and they are doing that. And so we just have more demand, more buyers in the market. Another category are investors, and we've seen tons and tons of both domestic and foreign investment in our market in Bend, and they're buying up homes, so they're depleting the inventory. New construction just can't happen fast enough. We have lots of homes being built, but it takes years for those large developments to get completed, for people to buy and move in, and it's a long process. So wrapping it up, what are my thoughts on what's happening now and what's coming in the fall or even 2023? Well, our market typically cools off in the late summer, which we're halfway through August right now. Everybody's focused on getting back to school. People got under contract and they're going to close this month so they can move in and get their kids in school in September, which is when school starts, the first week of September in Oregon. So our market definitely takes a big dive. It slows down a lot in September and through the winter, because then we get the holidays, winter weather, and just that's the way our market is. So I'm expecting it to slow down and just kind of keep plugging along, and interest rates are going to have some effect on that. As I said earlier, it looks like interest rates will kind of hold steady for a little while, but there's no guarantee that they're not going to go up next year. So if you can buy this year, I would say look at what's available and see if you can get under contract. If you think everything's going to change in 2023 and the perfect storm is going to happen, just keep this in mind. If interest rates did drop, if prices dropped, then all the other buyers are going to come out of the woodwork and they're going to be bidding up those home prices, and we'll be right back where we were before. So my best advice is look at your finances, get pre-approved. If it works for you now, buy now. And then you can always refinance if rates do drop. But those historically low rates of 2.5%, 3.5%, those are probably once in a lifetime. I mean, they definitely are once in a decade or probably century. I mean, we've never had interest rates that low ever. So don't expect those to come back. You're just going to have to suck it up and look at your budget carefully and see if you can afford a home right now. And my suggestion is try and lower your expectations for that home that you want, because home ownership is valuable. It will increase your family's wealth long term. So that's my best advice, is to buy what you can now. Then you don't have to worry. You don't have to watch videos like this anymore, and you can just go enjoy your life in Bend.